Welcome to part 6 of the AWS Ecosystem Deep Dive. We are past the halfway point now. Here's the journey so far: identity and security, networking, compute, databases, and application integration. That's part 1 through 5. Now, the business side comes to you and asks, we have all this data flowing through our system. What can we learn from it? Can we build dashboards? Can we get insights? That's what part 6 is all about: analytics. We are covering real-time streaming with Kinesis, querying data lakes with Athena, data warehousing with Redshift, ETL with Glue, and visualization with QuickSight. Data is the new oil, and this part shows you how to refine it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's unlock the value in your data. Continuing our story, you have got applications running, data flowing through message queues, services talking to each other. Your organization is generating a lot of data. Now, someone from the business side comes to you and asks, can we analyze all this data? Can we get insights? Can we build dashboards? Time for analytics. Let's go into the analytics section over here, and then you see analytics right at the top. Click on it and you'll see all the available analytics services right in here. First up is Kinesis. If you scroll down, you will find it right here. Kinesis is for real-time data streaming. Think about data that's continuously flowing in real time. Thousands of events per second. IoT sensors reporting temperature every second. User clicks on a website, log data from thousands of servers. Kinesis handles this streaming data. Now let's click on it and then get into its dashboard. Within Kinesis, there are a few flavors. Kinesis data streams, which you can see over here, is for custom processing. You write your own code to process the stream. Kinesis data firehose, which is over here, is for delivery. It captures data and delivers it to destinations like S3, Redshift, or OpenSearch without you writing code. Kinesis video streams is for video, streaming video for processing, storage, or machine learning. Here is a real world example you might know. Netflix. When you click play a movie, that movie is stored in S3 somewhere. It gets streamed to your browser through Kinesis video streams. That's how it plays smoothly, even though it's gigabytes of data. Now, here's a real powerful service. Remember S3 from the storage section? All the data you're storing in S3, can you query it? And how do you query it? S3 is not a database. You cannot run SQL on it directly, but Athena lets you query S3 data using standard SQL. And then we can find Athena in the same analytics section right at the top here. You point Athena at your S3 bucket, define the schema of your data, and then you can run SQL queries right against it. No ETL needed, no loading data into a database first. Your data stays in S3 and you query it directly. You pay per query based on how much data is scanned. This is great for ad hoc analysis, log analysis, querying your data lake. Let's say, as an example, you want to quickly see how many errors we had yesterday, and that data is in S3. You use Athena to run a query and then get your answer. Moving on, for bigger, more serious analytics, there is Redshift, and it is not a database, it's a data warehouse. And you can find it right here if you scroll down, and you will see it here. Now, what's the difference between a database and a data warehouse? Databases like RDS are optimized for transactions, inserting, updating, querying individual records. That's called OLTP, online transactional processing. Data warehouses like Redshift are optimized for analytics, running complex queries across massive datasets. That's called OLAP, Online Analytical Processing. Redshift can handle petabytes of data. Petabytes. You can run SQL queries that analyze billions of rows, and it integrates with BI tools like Tableau, QuickSight, Power BI. So anytime you hear big data with structured data that needs SQL analytics, think Redshift. And for search and log analytics, there is OpenSearch service. And you can find it right here. Amazon OpenSearch service. OpenSearch does full text search, like searching through millions of documents to find ones containing certain words. It's great for log analytics, aggregating and searching through application logs, application monitoring with dashboards. And here's something interesting about AI applications. OpenSearch can be a vector database too. When you're building AI applications and you need to store embeddings that vectorize data that AI models produce, OpenSearch handles it. And for ETL operations like extracting, transformation, and loading, there is a service called Glue, which is right here. It's a serverless ETL service. And what is ETL? You extract data from source, you transform it, meaning clean it, modify it, format it properly, and you load it into a destination. Glue does all of this without you managing the servers. It also maintains a data catalog, a central repository for all your data assets and their schema. Athena and other services can use this catalog to know what data is available. And for data analysts who don't code, there is Glue DataBrew, which is right here. It's visual data preparation. You clean and you normalize data through a visual interface. No Python, no Spark needed. And for big data frameworks, there is EMR. If you scroll up, you will find it right here. It's managed Hadoop and Spark clusters. You can run Apache Spark, Apache Hive, Apache HBase, and Presto, all the big data tools. EMR provisions the clusters for you and scales them based on your workload. And when would you use EMR versus Glue? Glue is serverless and simpler for standard ETL. EMR gives you more control and access to the full Hadoop ecosystem for complex big data processing. And when it comes to requirements like setting up a data lake, that used to take months. Now, lake formation makes it faster. And you can find lake formation right here in the same section. Lake formation helps you set up a secure data lake in just about days with proper security, access control, and data cataloging. It works with S3, Glue, Athena, Redshift, and all the analytics services that we have talked about so far. And let's say you get into an organization which is already using Apache Kafka. And for that, there is MSK, which is right here. MSK is managed Kafka on AWS. Kafka is popular for event streaming in large-scale architectures. If your team already knows Kafka, MSK lets you run it without managing the infrastructure. And we just said that Kafka is for streaming. Then in that case, what's the difference between Kinesis and MSK? Kinesis is AWS native. MSK is for Kafka compatibility. And finally, for visualization, there is QuickSight. Scroll down and you will see it right here. QuickSight is for business intelligence and dashboarding. QuickSight connects to your data sources and lets you build interactive dashboards and visualizations. Very similar to Tableau or Power BI, but it is AWS native and integrates seamlessly with all your AWS data. Let's recap our analytics journey. Data is being analyzed, insights are being generated, but you have been manually deploying things through the console. That is not suitable for real projects. Let's add structure to our application lifecycle. That brings us to developer tools and CI/CD, which we will cover in part 7. In part 6, we covered how to extract insights from your data, Kinesis for real-time streaming, Athena for querying S3 directly, Redshift for data warehousing at scale, Glue for ETL pipelines, EMR for big data processing, and QuickSight for beautiful dashboards. Now here's the thing. We have been manually deploying everything through the console. In a real job, that doesn't scale. In part 7, we are covering developer tools and CI/CD, which includes code commit, code build, code deploy, code pipeline, automated deployments every time. If you are a developer or DevOps engineer, part 7 is going to be especially valuable for you. LinkedIn. Drop a comment if you have any questions. See you in part 7.